low around -17. It's going to be windy with gusts as high as 45 miles per hour. Cold with a high near -5.
Hello and welcome back behind the wire. They say it's going to get pretty cold the next couple days, so just doing some preparation work. And this video might be, just to summarize it, might be my smile going from this to this. So if I see that there's a -5 for a high with a wind icon on my iPhone, that doesn't sound very pleasant to me and kind of worries me. Barbed wire fence, good barbed wire fence that's kept up, unlike that, does a pretty good job keeping cows in. But the temporary hot wire, single wire that we use in the winter that we move around, it's portable temporary fence. Sometimes if we get a blizzard or something pushes cows, those cows may decide themselves that that portable fence, the temporary time frame for that fence in that specific area, doesn't matter anymore. It's done. But if cattle desire to get out of the wind, they're gonna go with the wind and just keep on going until they find trees or a gully or some source of protection. A lot of the groups of cattle do have pretty good protection, but there are a few that don't have any. So Grandpa and I's spring calves have been on cover crops, and they've been on a quarter. But we seeded another quarter that is catty corner from that quarter. And the other day we fenced that other quarter that they haven't been on so that we could graze that one as well. Well, in the middle of the section, there's a huge grove of trees with pits and stuff and all kinds of protection. So we fenced in that quarter and we made a big wide lane for the calves to go through. And we wanted them to get in there before this storm hit so that they would have protection and they wouldn't get out. They'd be comfortable in there behind them trees. Well, a lot of calves, they kind of had trouble figuring that out, because once they figured out the wire was hot, finally, they've been scared to death of it. So I kind of had to coax a few of them. Calves are curious little animals, little creatures, and all I had to do was just drive out in my pickup, and I made a couple weird noises and they looked up at me and they saw my pickup parked somewhere where it usually isn't, and they came a-running. So they've been on that fresh cover crop since yesterday, last night, and we're still watering them in the same place that we originally were. So I wanted them to find the new spot, but I also wanted them to know how to get back to water. And last night, a few of them were pretty thirsty by the time they made it back up, but they figured it all out and they came up in a line and came to drink and headed right back out to where their fresh feed was. So the calves are set for the blizzard. That preparation is good to go. These cows want me to chop ice, I think. All that chopping and no water. Okay, let's move down here. My grandpa and I, we take in cows on corn stalks in the winters, and we have this great idea that we made about a half hour ago to move a group of cows today, because today is the last nice day. I think it's a high of 25. And it's up to 13 now, so we're having a heat wave. But if we get this all done today, then all but 3 groups, I believe, have cover. And those 3 groups, well, if they get out, we saddle up. That's just part of it. We're strung out and we have no other options at this point. It's just part of the deal. You can't always have cover for cows. And they don't necessarily need it. It's kind of for our benefit too, is so that if we have multiple groups of cows out, a horse and rider can only be one place at one time, and it's kind of a nightmare when there's 3 or more groups out at the same time. It's really not fun at all, especially when it's cold. Because if cows get out from the weather, that means you're riding in that weather, against that weather. Look at this magnificent white unit. You don't want to get shocked doing that. We're gonna fence in this quarter of Milo here, and this is where the cows will go today. You can just call me Otis, because I'm fencing in Milo. That was the worst joke of the day, I hope. Here's our other T-post, destination. So this weather, it's working against us, and people have it a lot worse than we do. We didn't even get the snow. But we just gotta do as good as we can. I once had a golf coach in high school, and I'd be at practice on the course somewhere, and he'd come find me on the golf cart, and he'd come on over. He'd stop behind me while I'm taking my practice swings, and I look back and he doesn't say anything, so he's just watching. Okay. But then I'd take my actual shot and probably shanked it into a tree, and looked back at my coach, and the words that he said were, "Well, do better." Then a couple holes later, I was probably in the trees again. Here comes his golf cart. Oh, coach is coming. Once again, he parked behind me and watched me take a stroke. And I look back at him again. And he goes, "Well, it's better," and drove on off. And I learned a lot about myself that day. You can always do better. I remember you from last year. So does my head. Better luck next year. Since I've got some wire left on me, I'm gonna go ahead and fence on the south side of a shop so some cows can get back behind there out of the wind. There's the bred heifers. They're acting like there's nothing going on. Look how thick that ice is. That's thick. Some calves made it back to the water. Hope they don't run through a fence. They're having a grand old time. This has the potential to be tough to get in the ground. Who wants to go today? Whoever goes today doesn't have to go tomorrow. Tomorrow might not be so fun. We got Bo today. Got a pickup out here, making me look bad. There's no wind out here, hardly at all, which is kind of scary. It's gonna get real windy. Calm before the storm is what I've heard it called before. Got cows moved. That wasn't very far. I don't even know why I was here. Didn't need me. Let's go home, pony. You heard it. Here's your chariot. So I got my horse put away and I've got the trailer. And I'm gonna put this trailer out here, drop it off for these bred heifers to use as a windbreak. So there's just 40 of them and they'll all fit behind it pretty good. And that ought to keep them from blowing out of here. I think right here should work because they've got this gully coming through here. This would be kind of downwind. They could lay down in this grass here or stand right here, which they'll probably do both. But I think right here is about as good as I can do. Okay, girls, you should be set. Got a trailer. They'll be curious what that thing is. They're looking. You stand south of it or lay down. Just doing my evening watering, and it looks like the calves once again are acting like there's nothing going on. That's a good thing. These calves were out of water, so they sent one guinea pig across the wire to go turn it on for them. But I bet we can figure it out for them. Hydrant's over here. Come here, if you're so smart. Okay, we got the fence lowered. Let's go back in there, huh? Come on, girl. Now hop it. Not even close. Keep going. Go in front of the pickup. There you go. Sorry, cow. Didn't know I was gonna be this late coming back. Okay. About an hour, she'll be full. This might surprise some people, but the number one important thing to prepare cows for warmth, for the cold, to stay warm, is not housing or shelter or trees. Those are all good things. But the number one thing is basically nutrition. If they've been on a good nutrition plan and they have food and they have water, they can insulate themselves. God created all the animals to withstand some pretty extreme outdoors, and cattle is no exception. They are an extremely resilient animal. Well, I think we've done about all that we can today to prepare for the wind and cold tonight. Well, it's better. But anyways, guys, thanks for coming along with me. We got a shed fenced in for a windbreak. We parked a trailer out there for the heifers for a windbreak. Finished rolling up a fence, put out a quarter, moved cows to it. One of these hours we'll have all the cows watered for the day, and we'll catch you next time right here behind the wire.